Hey, all, welcome back to another Agency Builders webinar series. So excited for today because I got to see Emma not that long ago at Agency Builders Retreat. Some of y'all may have been there, which was awesome. Some of you may not have been. And so I'm always curious how speakers are going to be on stage, and she was just absolutely spectacular. So I'm excited today to dig into a real workshop where we can answer this question, why agencies are leaving so much revenue on the table. In some cases, 40% or more, and what we're going to do about it. I think when we think about the future, one of the big things we have to solve for is where are our revenue streams coming from, and ultimately how are we helping our clients? Because if we're helping other people grow, then we get to grow. There's an old quote from Zig Ziglar I always love. He says, if you help enough other people get to the top, you may find yourself there pretty soon too. So Emma, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I loved being at the Agency Builders event that you all had earlier this year. It's rare that I go to a lot of conferences and I get the opportunity to speak in front of lots of different business owners and agency owners. But that event was so well curated. Every single person that I met that was a part of your community, smart and insightful and interesting and truly great at what they do. And it was so fun to be in a room like that and to be able to bounce ideas off of people and to share insights into what High Level has been up to. So I'm really glad that we got that opportunity. And I'm happy to be here today to teach a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you. And folks that are joining us, whether you're watching live or watching on demand, feel free to leave a comment in the chat if you're watching live, or many of you that will watch on demand, leave comments wherever you may see this inside the community or anywhere else. And our team will come back through and answer those questions, or we'll get connected with Emma and High Level and help them help us answer those questions. But I think you're in for a real treat today. This material I have kind of been through a little bit, but I'm excited to see Emma really teach it as a workshop today. I'll interject from time to time with questions that hopefully you may have as well. But if you have questions, leave them for us and let us help you. Otherwise, Emma, I'm going to turn it over to you, and looking forward to digging into it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let me share my screen so we can get started. All right. So today, as mentioned, we're going to be talking about why agency owners, in particular agencies, are leaving so much revenue on the table and what you can do about it. Now, I will warn you, this is a challenging session. This is not something where you can passively listen when you're driving in the car. You can, but you're going to have to come back because there are moments of homework. There are moments of writing things down. The goal here, if you want to get the most out of this, is to genuinely audit your own business and to look at existing clients you might have or examples in your own business. And that is how this is going to be the most beneficial to you all. As mentioned, my name is Emma. I'm the Senior Manager of Product Marketing here at High Level. And before I joined High Level, I was a marketing agency owner for 6.5 years. So a lot of what comes from into this presentation today is coming from my own personal experience, especially transitioning from marketing agency owner to more of a business consultancy approach, understanding how we could actually generate more revenue for our own business and then translate that to other agencies as well. But I want to start here with this idea, this question of what it takes to be a winning business in 2026, because it has changed. In fact, it's a lot different than it was 5 or even 10 years ago, in large part due to AI. And the thing is, winning businesses, they're not smarter and they're not working harder. Even though social media is so good at perpetuating that falsehood, the reality is that winning businesses are able to use systems and AI to scale their business sustainably. Now, before I go any further, for those of you that haven't heard of High Level, we're an AI-powered business platform. Okay, so everything you might need to grow your business directly inside the platform, from SMS chats, a full-scale CRM, AI integrated through every step of the platform. And you can see that we run at scale. You know, over 7 million AI voice calls have been made on our platform to date, with 1.37 billion with a B monthly messages sent, and then 129 million monthly leads generated on our platform directly. So we run at scale. It's a pretty significant infrastructure. And most importantly, our primary customers are marketing agency owners, just like you all. So it's a software that you can use for your own business, but you can also implement it with your clients to make your services more sticky and to increase your revenue over time. Now, here's the thing. Today is not about learning to use High Level. It's actually going to be about a chance to audit your own business. We do believe that we're the best solution out there, but you have so many choices, probably more than you even ever dreamed. This is a map I love to show in my presentations. MarTech releases one every single year. We'll probably do for the 2026 pretty soon. And each dot represents a different marketing automation software out there online. Yeah, that's a lot of choices. Yeah, so think about that. For now, it's not about the tool you choose. It's about making sure that you implement a system and that you're using one of the tools that will allow you to do these things that free up your time and focus on what matters most. Okay, so today we are going to be diagnosing your agency and redesigning it live. So those of you that are tuning in live, you're very lucky. But if you're watching this back, you can do the exact same thing. So I want you to start with either a pen and a piece of paper or your phone notes open or your computer notes open, because I'm going to force you to write some things down and you'll see why. First, I want you to write down what percentage of your revenue today is based on deliverables. It could be a website project, graphic design rebrand kit, any sort of thing like that, even just like a one-time consultancy or SEO package. And then what percentage of your revenue is based on measurable business impact? Because so many marketing agencies, and I was guilty of this too, you start at, oh, what can I do for you? I'm going to deliver a service, but I'm not carrying that through to business impact. I'm kind of leaving that up to you, my clients. But see, the thing, this is a huge thing that has shifted over the past 10 years. In 2016, easily execution was the product. Delivering the website, the SEO audit, the copy, all of those things. But that's no longer the case. Now in 2026, outcomes are the product. See, agencies are really hired for revenue growth, pipeline creation, customer acquisition, conversion improvement, and business leverage. Because now more than ever before, AI is commoditizing execution. Okay? When we're in this world where everybody can now easily generate copy, they can spin up a website in minutes. They can do pretty much or learn how to do just about anything the agencies were brought into before. So that critical missing piece is if you can show measurable business impact, because these AI tools are fragmenting execution. So they can buy the execution without buying the strategy, which makes the strategy more critical than ever. And that can be a scary place for agency owners to live. If you're not adapting and if you're not able to show business impact, it's super scary because, okay, some college kid can go and spin up an agency in minutes and now they can be delivering websites for a fraction of the cost and putting together SEO strategies or copywriting. If you're not adapting and you're not able to tie to measurable business outcomes, it will be harder to compete in this new landscape. But luckily for you, you have the tools that you need, and the tools exist now and they're more affordable than ever before. Okay, so if you can own the system, you are going to have so much more power over this. So not just sending leads out or generating things for your customers and leaving that there, but if you can have a CRM that houses the customer data, attribution, automations, the nurture sequence, the conversion process, all of that, suddenly you are so much more valuable and harder to replace. Usually for marketing agencies, it looks something like this, okay? You generate interest in some way, shape, or form, whether it's website, ads, social. Then there's a click. You have the offer, they're clicking, they're filling out a form, but what happens next? After that, most agencies genuinely don't know, was the lead contacted? How fast did they respond? Did anyone follow up? Was an appointment booked? Did the lead convert? This happens all the time. And then it leads to this back and forth of, oh man, I'm delivering these leads and my clients, they're not converting them. And then they're coming back to me saying that the leads are not good, but I know they're good. And it's this, back and forth or this or that. And there could be so many factors outside of a marketing agency's control, but you can actually bring those back into your control and grow your revenue while doing it. But I want to start by taking the next couple of minutes with you to map out a real existing client funnel. Okay, so think about an existing client. It could be a pet shop, a lawyer, a law firm, a dental clinic. Do you know their current response time So when a lead gets to their inbox or a DM, how long does it take them to respond? What happens when a call is missed? When the front desk staff is busy talking to a customer, that sort of thing? Is there a voicemail? Are there automations? Is there a structured follow-up after the first contact? What does the onboarding process look like? What does the follow-up sales process look like? Do you know that? And is every lead entered into a pipeline, like a visual pipeline that your clients can see? Is it tracked to revenue? This is a big one. So many businesses that I used to work with didn't understand. They didn't even know their own numbers. They would see their top line revenue every month, but they didn't know their average service cost. That's really common, especially with service-based businesses. Product, it's a lot easier. You can usually go on your e-commerce store, see your top selling products. But service-based businesses, if they're not tracking this, they probably don't know. And so if you can put a dollar figure, if you can have them go back and do a little bit of research and come back and say, oh, okay, as a dental clinic, our average service is actually like $3,000. Great. Now we can put a price on that lead. And it is so much, then your services become so much more valuable to them because they see you're generating those leads and how much potential revenue that is for them.
Well, and then one thing I was thinking about, Emma, not to interrupt you too much, but is, the lifetime value of that customer matters a ton too. So it's like their first product service might be worth whatever, $3,000, but what is the value of that client over 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, really the life of the client? The thing that always stands out to me is this article I read one time, and it was talking about the lifetime value of a Starbucks customer. Now, maybe it's just me, but I probably spend too much money there. It turns out it's not just me. An average thing at Starbucks is, well, now it's like $8 to $10, but it used to be like 4 to 5. But the lifetime value of a Starbucks customer is somewhere north of $17,000. And so it's not the $8 cup of coffee that they bought the first time. It's the customer that comes back again and again and again and again. And, it makes all this that you're talking about now makes me think about when I started in the agency many moons ago, 27 years ago, I was only selling one-time fixed product deliverables. So it's like I'd build a website, and back then it was like $500 because I was, 17 years old, and that was a lot of money back then. And that was fine, but somewhere along the way, my uncle had told me, he said, look, man, you got to find a way to generate recurring revenue. And then I always think about, like, as we're kind of going through this for other agency owners, just other things to think about as you're watching this back is, what are the streams of revenue that I have as well? Because for me, I think about my business as an investment portfolio, because it kind of is my investment portfolio. And so how many streams of revenue do I have? If I only have one and it's not recurring, especially, then ultimately it's kind of like having a big 401k and it's all invested in one stock. It's just way too high risk for me. So those are the things that come to mind as you're going through this.
Both are so valuable. The lifetime value thing, incredibly important. What we would actually have a formula that like a little spreadsheet that we made, and we would just give it to new clients and say, here, if you don't know your own lifetime value of a customer, that's totally fine. It's wild how many businesses don't know. So do not assume that your clients know. Most of the time, like, it's so helpful if you can provide them with a simple resource, and then they can get that number back to you, because that was a barrier to entry at first. We started going down this route to show more value and to provide, to grow revenue in our agency. And so many of our clients just had never done the numbers. But when you have a lifetime value, all of a sudden it makes sense now. Oh, I can pay $300 per lead, because the lifetime value is $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. It totally changes their mindset and allows them to invest more money with you, the marketing agency. So, and then the last point here in mapping this client funnel is, do your clients, and therefore do you know the show and close rates for that client? Okay, so if you're generating meetings, you're generating appointments, how many people out of the people that book an appointment are showing up? And out of the people that attend the appointment, how many convert to a sale? Those percentages matter, because if you're bringing 100 leads every month and they're solid and you feel really comfortable, but the company has a really poor close rate, you're going to have to either bring a lot more leads or do something to impact, because they're not going to see that impact on their own business. So think of yourself as a little detective, as an investigator. And all of this, what you might think of as extra work, is just going to go into making your agency in a much better position to serve them and to generate more revenue. Okay, so as you have this this whole client funnel mapped out, I want you to look at it and think, where is the biggest leak happening? And right now, it might be that you don't actually know the numbers for this existing client. Or it could be that you're looking through and you're like, gosh, I think they're really bad at answering. They don't have an after hours plan. So when the business is closed, they get leads on the weekends and nobody's reaching out. There's a lot of opportunity there, but I want you to keep that. And as we go through this presentation, see what resonates. Because usually there's going to be one point that's like you can fix first because it's probably the biggest leak, the lowest hanging fruit. Going into that, this is a question I really like to ask because a lot of times the answers are all over the place. And Jay, I want to ask you, what do you think the average lead response time is? So we actually, we work with millions of businesses worldwide, all different kinds of businesses that use our platform, and they use our phone calls, our text messages, our DM, like we're all connected, right? It's like one-stop shop where you can connect and communicate with customers. Well, we were able to pull the average response time from all businesses worldwide. So what do you think that is?
Well, I would like it to be less than 5 minutes, but I'm guessing it's more like 24 to 48 hours.
It's actually it's better than that. And now, mind you, this is the microcosm of businesses that have high level, that are already implementing most of the time. They're implementing some sort of solution. So they're like a leg up, right, from other agencies or other businesses. And even within our own platform, right now, the average response time is 3 hours and 21 minutes. But just like you said,
I bet a lot of people, though, to your point, though, are probably a lot worse than that. I bet the people that are using high level, like if you saw a study of people that weren't, my instinct is it's probably more like 24 hours. But people that are already using high level, they already have some tools. So a lot of them are really optimized. So there's always going to be outliers on both ends. So the people who are super optimized are probably skewing it lower, and the people that are not probably aren't using high level as much. So it's an interesting thing to think about, though.
No, I completely agree. And talking to enough business owners, most of the time, they might be good during the day, but then after hours, right around the weekends, all of a sudden, they have no plan. And just like Jay was mentioning, you have to be a lot faster than you think. MIT did this lead study that I talked about at the Agency Builders Workshop it blew my mind when I read this. They basically conducted research to see how fast you needed to be to respond back to a lead for the optimal chance that lead will convert. And the answer is 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And on top of that, you have extreme diminishing returns if you wait even 10 minutes to respond back to that lead, as seen here in this chart. And the reality is,
this is a wild chart to look at, especially for agency leaders, because I know like a lot of y'all out there that are agency owners and leaders, especially where the principal is still the primary salesperson, which almost all agencies sub $1 million are in that category. Not all of them, but most of them are. And as a result, you're sitting with a client. And so what you're not doing is following up with the prospect that's coming in because your schedule's completely full during the day. Ask me how I know, because I've done this for many years.
Same.
And then, even for your clients, when you start to evaluate stuff like this, it's like, are we putting things like this on the screen in front of our clients? Because I think that we are moving towards this new era where just building them a good website's not good enough, But when we show up with information, even like this chart, sitting down with a client and going, hey, how fast are you replying to leads? I just created exponential value just by getting them to think about these things that they're not already thinking about. It has nothing to do with building a website, creating social media posts, running paid ads, because this actually is the fundamental piece that adds to the value of all the other pieces.
You are so right. And even the businesses that have worked with marketing agencies before, that they might have a structured sales team, all of that, they're probably still missing out on some of this crucial information. Because if you're not in it and you're not understanding just how much things have changed with the attention and like the automation of things, most businesses are still at a big disadvantage. So you can come in as an agency and be an early mover and provide a ton of value. And so on top of this is another great statistic to show people is that 48% of leads on average come into businesses after hours. That is evenings and weekends. So when you present that to your client, all of a sudden it does matter. Oh, maybe I should have a plan for after hours coverage. And the thing is, normally that it's really overwhelming because in the past, you were expected to be everywhere at once. And that genuinely meant either having no life as a business owner or investing in staff that you may not have the financial freedom to do. Okay, now we have to have a call center when we're not available. Now I have to hire a social media planner that can, manage all of the different incoming leads from different social platforms. And it's so overwhelming. But that's where AI can come in and truly streamline things so that you can have human interaction where it matters most. And so there are all of these new AI powered, what we call like revenue expansion tools that you can have in your back pocket that even a year and a half ago did not exist. So I'm going to go through some of those with you today. And in that process, we're going to go through what we like to call the growth flywheel. So you'll see there are a few different stages of this flywheel that are business fundamentals because the business fundamentals have not changed. What has changed is you have some really, really cool technology that's going to help you accelerate your growth through these fundamentals. So the first fundamental step of our growth flywheel is that all winning businesses, they're using AI to capture leads into their CRM. And a really cool way that you can do that is with a beautiful website and a gorgeous lead magnet. And now with a tool like AI Studio inside of High Level, you don't have to be a developer. You don't have to be a designer. You can build something in minutes, okay? This is an AI-powered generative builder experience. You can design landing pages, websites, and even full front-end applications, which agency owners, you should be like, holy cow, because even if we had a full design studio, we had developers on staff, but still the amount of money it would take, even just a few years ago, to build a front-end application and the time, it was a lot. And now with AI, you can do it in minutes. You can design from a prompt. You can take inspiration from an existing site. I love that. We'll pull in inspiration from 3 or 4 different sites, and it can take different elements and customize it to what you want. You can also completely clone a website from a URL. I'm sure agencies, you will have clients come to you and they're like, I've had clients that they don't remember their website login, or they really like the look and feel, or they're used to this, but they hate the back end. You just have so many more options available to you now. If you want to take on website hosting or management, or just do something and then provide something to your clients that's easier for them to edit. That's a thing that we got asked for all the time. You can design forms and interactive lead magnet experiences in minutes. And the most powerful part of all is that you can connect anything you build in the AI Studio to high-level workflows for powerful follow-up action. Because as we're learning, if you can have your tools that are all connected and working for you, that's where you're really going to see the power. So I want to give you a couple of quick examples of what our current customers are building with AI Studio so we can get your brain going. And the reminder here is there are platforms out there that do this outside of High Level. So go explore. Now at your fingertips, you can absolutely vibe code pretty much anything that you want. So we have an agency that decided to vibe code a lead magnet to show how much expected revenue growth a potential client could find. And look at this. This is kind of, we're going to be talking a little bit about this later today, how these numbers go into it and just how powerful it is for your clients to see how much money you could make them. So monthly ad spend, current cost per lead, lead to close rate, customer lifetime value, and then it generates a projected revenue. And obviously it's like, oh, that's exciting, that's enticing. And that was done with the AI Studio. Another good one was that we have an agency client who was working with a publishing company, and they actually built for the publishing company an AI publisher that publishing company could use with their customers. So now they can track the manuscript from first draft to bestseller. It generates tasks for the authors. It walks them through this whole flow. And that was something that the agency was able to deliver for their client without having to hire a developer. Finally, just general website design stuff. You can design really custom, really cool stuff. There's a drag and drop visual editor as well, so you don't just have to rely on prompting the system. But I just wanted to show this because each one of those experiences looks completely different. And sometimes when you get vibe coders, the result will all kind of look the same, just like AI copy can all kind of sound the same. So this is to show you that you can really, the world is your oyster. Your creativity is what is where your limit truly is. And this is something that our customers really, really love. So it's been very well received. And I highly recommend if you have high level already and you're watching this. So we're doing what's called the Summer of AI. So AI Studio is completely free to use. You can generate as many projects as you want all throughout the summer through August. Conversation AI, voice AI, some of the other AI tools we're talking about are also completely free all summer. So if you've been holding back or you're not sure, even if you're not a high level customer and you just like want to try it out, this is the very best time because all of these AI tools are completely free for you to use.
Yeah, and that's actually completely insane. For those of us that are out here that know how much token costs are on AI and everything else, and how many other tools maybe you've used to build landing pages or create things for clients, incredible opportunity to take advantage of. And one of the things that we've started doing that we just never did before was what I call the new car smell. No, let me explain. What I always tell people is if you're selling cars, one of the number one things that a car dealer or car sales rep wants you to do is what? Is to come take a test drive. Why? Because when you get in the new car and you smell that new car smell and you feel the door close and you got that fresh leather that you're sitting on or whatever it is, there's something about being in the car that just makes you more likely to buy it. The problem that we've always had in websites and app development and front end apps and all these kind of things is we can't just prototype this stuff up, right? It's called spec work. We've talked about it for ages. We don't do spec work. Why? Because it's too high risk. Now, if you got no work, you can go spend time on it, hoping that you might sell a deal. But now with AI, what we're starting to do is actually prototyping website landing pages, home pages, even apps out of what we call a marketing blueprint. So we do a session up front, strategic session with the client. And historically, they would get a wireframe, some copy, a few other things. Now we're prototyping a real life example so that when they see it, they're like, they can smell the new car, and all of a sudden they want to drive it. And so this is what this kind of tool makes possible and at no cost. Like this is an insane thing. It makes me so wish that I was 17 years old again, like when I started my business, but I'm also reminded that somebody like Zig Ziglar that I quoted earlier didn't even write his first book till he was 55. So there's plenty of room ahead for everybody to make some headway. And I really believe agency leaders out there, if you're not leveraging these kinds of tools right now, you are missing the boat. Like I'm not trying to be an AI fearmonger. It's just the reality of the truth of where we are. And it's such an incredible opportunity right now. It's like, I always think about Gary Vaynerchuk tells this story about his dad's wine library. And when when paid ads first started coming out for Google, because nobody used Google ads. So you could buy the keyword red wine for 5 cents a click. I assure you cannot do that anymore. And so the opportunity was so rich. That's where we are as it relates to leveraging these types of AI tools, is people don't know about it. They're not using them. And so we have this window of time, whatever that is, where we can leverage at scale and create a lot of value for people.
I completely agree. And I will put you on to something very connected to what you just said. So if any of this resonates with you all watching and you're like, oh, I would love to trial some of this technology out with my clients to help them improve their, we're going to talk about missed calls, improve their missed calls, or to help them see the value of their leads. This is the best time to do so because like I said, if you join high level or if you're already on high level, your AI tools, it's free all summer. Okay, that's huge. So that means not just free for you as the agency owner, but high level is built in a way for you to have all of your clients on sub accounts. And if you're on our middle tier plan, which is $297 a month, you can have unlimited sub accounts. So if you have 100 customers, if you have 1,000, it doesn't matter. And you could implement AI tools for all of them for free all summer. And that's such a good way to get them hooked and then to build the value with you. I'm just sharing the inside knowledge here.
I'm just currently thinking about the many thousands of dollars that we use with another large CRM that I won't name. And I'm like, we've got to migrate these clients because the client's spending the money on the software. They don't need to. And if they weren't spending, $3,000 a month on their CRM, they could invest that money in other things, which they would because they want to grow. And it actually creates more opportunity for the agency. So pretty exciting.
We can chat offline about that because we've got some tools that make it easier than ever if you do want to come from one to another. Okay. So back to the presentation. We're going to be talking about missed calls because now we know, that chances are your clients are not responding fast enough and they're not responding or may not have a plan for after hours. So this is also a wild stat from ChatGPT. Straight up, just went to ChatGPT. Did you know that 62% of inbound calls go unanswered to small businesses. Ugh, it's painful. It's painful. So we know that this is like a big problem that needs to be solved. So then imagine if you as the agency owner can show your client just how much money those missed calls are costing them. So we're going to do that together. This is where there are a couple of times today we're going to do a little bit of math. Don't be scared. We're going to I'm someone, I hated math growing up, but seeing a little bit about the power behind it and how it can help you make a really good argument to make more money, all of a sudden I can get behind it. Okay. So how much money are businesses losing from missed calls? Now I will share this presentation. You can also screenshot it. This is a great time because this is the missed call formula. So you have your missed calls, like the number of missed calls per week or per month, the close rate of the business, and the average job value. You multiply them all together, okay? So, for example, if your client has an average closing rate of 30%, they have an average job value of $2,000, and they miss 5 calls per week, how much revenue are they losing every week? You're like, oh, 5 calls. What a big deal. Okay, that's fine. We'll get back to them. By the time we've gotten back to them, they've probably gone with somebody else. Just missing 5 calls a week, they're looking at losing $3,000 per week or $12,000 a month just on a couple of missed calls. Now, if you can present that information to your client and say, oh, but there's something you can do about that I can help you with, it's going to strengthen your position big time. Enter voice AI agents, okay? Imagine that every single call gets answered 24/7, 365 days a year. It can create contacts. It can store details in the CRM field. So as it's having a conversation with that lead, it's just tucking that information away for you for later. And it can handle simultaneous calls, 10, 20, 30, doesn't matter. It can forward calls to a real human being on your team if there's something in mind that you want a real human to handle. And you will always get a recap and transcription email so you know exactly what happened. And most importantly, each call can trigger out automations, whether it's a quote or it's an inspection or it's a calendar booking. Now, the reality is that voice AI agents are a fraction of human cost. Now, most small businesses that we see and most agencies we see implementing voice AI, they're not doing it as the first line of defense, but they're using it as a critical backup infrastructure. So that means there's a setting when you create a voice AI agent in high level, you can just turn it on only when a call is about to go to voicemail. So like a human being has missed it. Maybe you're too busy talking to a customer or you're doing service, you're actually performing your job and you missed that call right before it goes to voicemail. It'll get picked up by a voice AI agent who can communicate, understand what's going on, book an appointment, all that good stuff. The other time that voice AI is used is after hours and weekends when you may not have a plan and don't have the money for a call center to handle those. And from experience, we've seen that they tend to be a lot better than most call centers because they're consistent and you can train them and you can test them out before deploying them. So that's just a really cool tool there that you can immediately find value for your clients and save them thousands of dollars a month. So next up in our growth flywheel, we have this foundational idea of nurturing business because winning businesses are leveraging AI and automation to nurture leads into conversations and appointments. Because conversations are what create conversions. It doesn't happen out of nowhere. Even though your clients might think so, I know you know that it takes time and it takes trust building. So you can provide solutions for your clients to help them with that. So imagine this like multi-channel communication. So all of the clients' communications with their customers coming into one place. Phone, SMS, email, Facebook Messenger, Instagram DM, WhatsApp, all in one place. They can see who on their team has responded to said customer at any given time. They can listen back to call recordings. They can see where and when the AI has joined the conversation. And it just makes their lives easier because they only have to log into one place. And with that, just like we have the voice AI solution, you now have at your fingertips the AI chatbot solution, which is super, super powerful. Same kind of thing as voice AI. So it's always on, super easy to train, can create and populate contacts. It is amazing with FAQs. You can just upload an FAQ document. You can put a URL to your website and have it scrape all the information on your website. It can book appointments for you, It can roll over to a human at every time, and it runs across channels. So you can have that web chat widget on your website. You can have it set up to your Instagram DMs. If you're overseas, you can have it set up to be your WhatsApp business infrastructure. So when people chat into your business on WhatsApp, and all of that funnels into one singular app. And you can even set it up where, okay, I'm actually going to see if I can respond first, but the AI will kick in after 5 minutes if I don't get to it first, or something like that. It just, there's the whole point of this is giving you flexibility on how and when you want AI to step in for your business or your clients' businesses. And the appointment booking, Jay, like this is so critical. I'm sure you know that that's one of the hardest things for clients is you might send them leads and they might even be interested leads, but something gets lost in the process, whether it's the back and forth, leads getting confused, all of this. So you just think about the amount of time you could save for your clients if conversation AI or chatbot could just book the appointment for you. So all you had to do as a human is show up and then have that great service appointment with them. You can also cancel.
The other thing I would just add in here too that matters a ton when we're talking about all these AI functions is one of the risks I think agencies are not paying attention to is this, that if you're not talking about these tools and resources to your clients and for your clients, somebody else is. And so at the end of the day, the problem with all of these new things is they create back doors for other agencies or other solopreneurs or whoever to come in and basically take your client from you. And what I want to know is that when my clients have somebody else approach them, they go, oh yeah, our business builders already talked to us about that, And so to me, the hard part of that is going, well, how many tools do I have to set up in order to accomplish all this different stuff? Because they ask for an AI chat, but then they also maybe are interested in voice, but they don't really know if they want either one. But to some extent, it kind of like, it does matter that the client is using the tools properly. Like that's for sure a big deal. But way before that is just knowing that you can provide these things to somebody under a single umbrella. And that provides a lot of protection so that other people aren't coming and taking your business, talking about things that you're not talking about yet.
That is such a good point, Jay. We had that happen a few different times throughout the course of my agency where a client, oh my goodness, I had a sweet client one time who just didn't quite know any better, and someone had called her and had sold her on an AI, or not even AI, it was just an old school chatbot that was so expensive, and they locked her into some insane contract. And I said, oh, we offer that. Not only do we offer that, but it would be at no additional cost, but we hadn't properly communicated that to her. Because it was just like, so you are so right on that. And if anything, you can do right by your clients by making sure that they don't get trapped into things where they're spending way too much money on things they don't need to be spending money on. And you can really hone in on where they're going to find the most value and then get a fair price out of that. So I also wanted to share this. This is such a good vision to see, because a lot of times people still think of AI chat as this really stale, robotic conversation that it used to be even just a couple years ago. This is a client of ours that has a barbershop. I think it's in Chicago. It's like very inner city. And they train the chatbot to sound just like them and to take like very minimal information. So if you can read this, it's like, my kid's at camp until 2:45. Next week, no camp scheduled. And you don't need very much info at all. The AI chatbot is able to book appointments, to inquire, to do all of that with very limited context, and it sounds like your business. So that is a huge win for small businesses, is they're always like, oh, is this going to sound like a robot? So that's why I suggested like Summer of AI. This is such a good time to trial and demo stuff out at no cost to you so that you can show your clients what's possible. There's also some really cool tools available with like auto follow-up. So you can actually set up what's called dynamic channel switching that makes it sound more human, because if you know anything about humans, we are inconsistent. So maybe someone originally DM'd you and then they ended up following up with a conversation on email or SMS, but then they stopped replying at some point. Life got busy. Well, now you can actually set up the AI chatbot to like dynamically channel switch. So it'll follow up on Instagram. Then it might follow up with a text message or an email. And that actually feels less overwhelming to the human psyche as opposed to just getting a bunch of emails or a bunch of text message reminders. And it feels more human. So now that's possible with AI. Now, talking about close, okay, so winning businesses, they're using modern payment tools to help them get paid. And what's really powerful about this, inside of High Level, probably like the beating heart of our platform is our workflows builder. You can automate any part of your business that you can imagine. There are tons of triggers that set off a ton of different actions, and you get to pick and choose what you're looking for. You can use AI to build your workflows for you. But you also now have this really powerful AI decision maker inside of workflows. And so it can wait, deciding based on the reply of that person, decide what to do next. And so if you just, all you have to do is sit down, think about the logic once. What do you want to happen for that client? You build it, you test it, and then it's good. It's a repeatable process that runs for you consistently. And all of this comes into what essentially is a revenue expansion blueprint for you. So you have all of these tools at your disposal, but now the question is, how can you use this to generate more revenue for your business and to become stickier as a whole? So I've had you audit an existing client, but now I want to give you an example of what this could look like for a potential client of yours. So I want to take a moment to transform this business. And Jay, you are going to be my guinea pig here, okay? So we have this pet business. Now the pet business right now, they've got some things going and some things not, which is usually the case, right? It's not all or nothing. So in this case, they don't really have a pipeline. They don't have a lead pipeline they're visualizing, but they do have an automated email. So when someone fills out the form on their website, there's an automated email coming through. Now they do only answer the phones 9 to 5 on weekdays. The other thing that happens is the customers will claim that free grooming offer that's in their email, but they forget to show up to their appointment. Okay. So taking all of that info in mind, Jay, what are things that come to mind that you would do differently?
Well, on the forget to show up, automated follow-ups, ideally not just email, but text messaging. I think that's a missed opportunity for a lot of people. They're not leveraging SMS appropriately. And we all know, or should know, that SMS has a much higher open rate. And so the opportunity there to connect with them in a much more direct and arguably more personal way. Because, I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but my email is constantly overloaded, even with spam filters. And so even something like this that actually does matter, if it was my pet, I'm going to easily overlook it. And then obviously, if they're only answering the phones at 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the weekends, leveraging something like that AI, conversational answering service, while I would argue none of it's ever going to be as good as actual human being. Well, maybe not ever, but let's say within the next 18 months, it's probably not as good as a real human being. 18 months from now, you probably won't even be able to tell the difference. But it's still way better than getting hey, leave a message and we'll get back to you next week, because they can actually get real answers with real information. And, I mean, I've been on plenty of calls with call centers, whether it's, my cell phone service or whatever else, where you call in and it's like, your wait time is 45 minutes. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not waiting 45 minutes.
You get on with someone and you're like, oh, great. And they don't know the answers to literally anything. And you're like,
exactly.
What is the point? What did we just do here other than waste my time? And so that is a huge benefit, is just getting the info that you need. And Jay, you are spot on, especially what you said about the SMS.
We didn't practice this ahead of time either, just to be fair. This is all, I'm just getting thrown all this.
This is what you do. This is your world, Okay, so a really low-hanging fruit that we didn't mention is that you can track leads and revenue in a pipeline for this client. So if you could just, it is in two clicks in High Level, you can set up a visual pipeline. And then if you're like, oh, their average service is grooming is $200, okay, cool. Let's put that in as $200. That's their grooming lead pipeline. Okay. The other thing is that you mentioned is automating an SMS. You can always do the email too, but the difference of automating an SMS is huge. I think the open rate is like 98 or 99% for SMS currently. And if you notice, I love this. Rather than just say, hey, here's your offer, great, here, click here to book with us. It's so valuable if you can automate your SMS with a question to the customer that gets them engaging with you back. So think about what a good question you could ask in that initial SMS is to get that conversation started. Another really low-hanging fruit with that is implementing conversation AI and or voice AI to make sure that there's an after-hours plan that can answer FAQs, nurture customers, and, really support that whole infrastructure when you're not available. And finally, and this one is really important as well, sending out booking reminders. If you know that the show rate is lower than it should be, that seems like an easy, low-hanging fruit to remind people of their appointment. So with that, I'm also going to give you another formula here, okay? That can be really important for your clients. So what you'll need to know is leads per month, the current close rate for that client, and the average job value. So if you were generating 100 leads per month, say you're doing digital ads or whatever it may be, and you know that their current close rate is 30% and the average job value is $500, okay? If the close rate increased by just 5%, how much revenue would it add? So imagine this pet shop scenario, right? Okay, we don't have booking reminders. So I bet if we implemented booking reminders, maybe we could increase that close rate by just 5%. But what would that mean for the client in monetary terms? Same kind of formula here. It's your leads times your close rate times your average job value. Okay, so the current close rate, 100 times 30% close rate times 500, they're getting about $15,000 a month. Nice. Okay, pretty good business here. But with just a 5% increase, that's looking at $17,500 a month. And this is the same kind of thing that you can share because your clients may not realize just how important it is to implement a change. And then when you show them what it could mean for them with revenue in the door, completely different conversation.
Yeah,
So
just strategically too, like for agency owners thinking about this is great whiteboard session stuff. So obviously you can create a digital tool, people can fill it online, but the better way to do this, in my opinion, is when you're sitting physically in a room with a client, you get on a whiteboard and you go, hey, let me just show you something real quick. And what I'll actually do is I'll actually broaden this funnel even higher typically, because 9 times out of 10, what people come to us asking is, hey, we need to get more leads. And so what they think is in order to get more leads, they need better SEO or they need better paid ads. And I'm like, maybe. And I always draw the whole funnel and I'll show them, I'll say, hey, at the top, we got 1,000 people coming in. All right. And let's say if those 1,000 people, you get 100 leads, that's a 10% conversion. That's actually really good. But let's just say that's what happened. You get 10%. Let's say you close 50% of those. That's where this comes in. And then what's the average job value? And I go all the way to the bottom of there. But what I always then show them, I go, hey, what if the top of the funnel, the 1,000 people at the top, stays exactly the same? We actually don't get any new traffic. We don't spend any more money on ads. The same 1,000 people are looking at your website or looking at your content. But instead of 10% converting, what if we converted 20% just for easy math? Now, all of a sudden, that 100 people that we knew now is 200 people. And what if your close rate stayed the same? Or in this case, what if it increased by 10%? And then you do that math even. That's right. Then you do the math even farther down the funnel, and you can take what was a $15,000 a month opportunity for them and show them a $40,000 a month missed opportunity at the end of the day. And so then when you're pitching a, $10,000 a month retainer, they're like, I mean, I guess it does make sense because these people can see things that I can't see, and 100%. They understand how to put the pieces, whether it's a tool or a deliverable or some combination of both, in each one of these levers so that you can help them achieve the outcome. But if you can't show them the math on the stage, and I know most of us are creatives, so math and whatnot, but just do easy numbers, big round numbers. It's easy, and then the beauty is they see the math on the page. And especially if you're dealing with a business owner or somebody that's even in a large company that's directly in charge of a budget, they look at the numbers and go, oh yeah, it's a no-brainer. Let's just do it. Because that's what I would do. So anyway.
And so we actually used to do the same thing where we map the entire client funnel, because sometimes there are just factors outside of your control. Like you might be in an industry where the keywords to do Google ads are insanely expensive. And and your competition is so high that this client won't have the budget to compete, right? Okay. So maybe we can't change the number of leads that are coming in because they can't really increase their ad spend where they need to be. So then just like you said, what are the other levers that we can do? How can we make sure that the people coming in convert at a higher rate? And so it's all about figuring out and mapping for those clients what you can do with the resources that are available and what services you offer to be able to expand that. And it's just justifying your cost. It's justifying your cost, and it's justifying exactly what you're going to provide to them, which is so helpful as an agency owner. So then there's this other side to the growth flywheel that's called evangelize. So winning businesses, they're consistently turning customers into reviews and recommendations. And guys, you can put this on autopilot. And this is like consistently the easiest, the most low hanging fruit way to improve your client's business. So you can set up automated review requests. And then you can set up in a click, literally one click, auto responses using AI on those reviews. So the vast majority of local businesses rely very heavily on local review platforms like Google, Yelp, etc. It is so simple to set up at the time that a service was completed or a project for that automated reminder to go out. And you're just relying on your client's team to tell in person, like, oh, would you, leave a review? I found that is so inconsistent because it relies on the personality of people so many people, we would work with a lot of dental practices, for example, and the front desk staff would be like, I just don't feel comfortable asking, and there would just be that barrier. Whereas an automated text message after they leave, and then another one following up the next day, hey, just in case you forgot, I wanted to check in one more time. I hope you loved your experience. That goes such a long way to improving the reviews and the reputation of a business. And it is so easy for you to implement and then to be like the savior in this situation. The other thing that we would get calls about constantly, like the number one crisis situation as an agency owner that I got, was when my client got a 1-star review. And there was usually some big long backstory and they were really stressed out. How do I respond? How do I respond? You don't have to worry about that anymore. Because with AI, you can have really thoughtful responses. You can actually choose the sentiment, the tone, and you can have an AI like a different AI that's only there to respond to those 1-star reviews versus like 4-star, 5-star reviews. So that is a good peace of mind that you can provide. That's so easy for you guys to set up on your end. And then this is a little bit about what it can look like on the back end inside of High Level. You actually get an AI summary too of your clients' reviews. So you can see if there are phrases that are popping up, if there's a sentiment analysis, that can be so helpful. Once again, adding to value in your monthly reports or your weekly check-ins to say, hey, I've noticed there's an uptick in reviews that are concerned about X, Y, and Z, or they're praising X, Y, and Z. And now you get to be the authority on their business, showing them information that they probably didn't know before they know it. And all of this foundational pieces, they create what's like a flywheel effect. So when you have more leads coming into your business and you're actually engaging with them, you're having more conversations. And that does lead to more sales. If you're having more conversations, you're not missing those opportunities, you're going to sell more. And then if you're actually turning those sales into reviews and recommendations, that will organically get you more leads. And it creates this flywheel effect that spins faster and faster. And as agency owners, you can use it for your own business, but you can also use it for your clients.
Well,
really
I think Emma just froze on us. But I'll just kind of dig in here and wrap up as we go here. The thing that's standing out to me
like we are trying to reconnect.
The opportunity that I'm actually missing in our business, where we leverage AI a lot for our own building, but we're not necessarily leveraging it for our clients, especially in some of these categories. And some of them is really low-hanging fruit, like the review stuff. I mean, we'll help with some kind of review management in some situations, but the missed opportunity there on our side is, I think, closing the back door. And so when you think about this entire funnel from capture to nurture to close to evangelize, where are the pieces of the funnel that we're missing with our clients and that are helping them actually close the gap in growing their business? Because for me, I think the number one thing is having somebody else come and go, hey, well, is so-and-so doing such and such for you? And then you're not. And that becomes real problematic. And so ultimately, I want to make it as easy as I possibly can for users to, users being our customers, to leverage this technology in one platform. And so that's why we're looking really heavily at getting more of our clients into High Level. A lot of them are in other platforms right now. And High Level is building some pretty cool import tools that will allow that. And as an agency, the other thing that's really cool, which is where I'll kind of land the plane, I'll include a link to where you can get kind of set up with this AI for the summer free offer that Emma mentioned, is High Level is incredibly affordable. You can get one fixed rate as the agency and then add all kind of clients to it at very minimal, incredibly minimal costs. And then that savings gets passed along to the client, but it also becomes a revenue opportunity. And you basically lock them into a platform where they have they need to stay with you, because you can even white label the High Level setup for the agency. So it becomes kind of part of working with you is getting access to this. Their data is all in there. And I'm not trying to hold clients hostage, but I do want to give them more reasons to stay with us over time. So I'm going to include a link in the chat later and in the comments in the description where you can get access to the AI, the summer offer that Emma mentioned. I know that I'm going to go set that up right now for us, test it out for ourselves, and then ideally find a few clients who'd be a good fit for and do a little experimenting this summer to see what's possible so that by the fall, we're not behind, we're actually ahead over where everybody else is. So thanks for taking the time today and tuning in, watching through this webinar. I hope it has been helpful. I'm trying to bring resources to the community, to agency builders that will help you grow your business without being stressed out and worn out and ready to quit. So until next time, we'll see you soon.